After the 6-1 thrashing of San Jose, we've kept the momentum rolling in the league. We locked up the Eastern Conference early and, with 6 games to spare, officially secured the Supporters' Shield dominance at its finest. We had a couple of blood wins, including an 8-1 demolition of Chicago, but also a few bumps, a narrow loss to Portland and a 6-goal thriller against Miami. Rotations played a part, keeping our squad fresh for the big one. And that brings us to the final. Charlotte awaits, and we know what's on the line, a second trophy, a shot at cementing this season as one for the history books. Stay focused, keep the intensity high, and let's bring it home.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode number 70 of Red Bull KloppBot here on Sean Does FM with the New York Red Bulls. I hope you're doing well. And coming up today, we've got the US Open Cup final, our first chance for silverware here in a cup competition with the New York Red Bulls as we take on Charlotte FC. But this does come off the back of a couple of cup games that we did play in yesterday's episode, the quarterfinal of the Leagues Cup, which unfortunately didn't go how we wanted before we did get past San Jose in the semi-finals of this competition. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. You would have noticed, I didn't say though, our first bit of silverware, because off the back of that episode we have got through quite a few games in the MLS and for the most part picked up some good results. A 2-1 win over Nashville there thanks to goals to Molina and then a late winner there from Birchmas with about 10 minutes left. Unfortunately Zenta with a minor injury, but thankfully nothing too serious to keep him out of any games. Off the back of that, Hudson River derby, which thankfully picked up there 2-0. Not the best game of goals there again to Birchmas as well as to Renier. Off the back of that, narrow 1-0 win at home over Minnesota, which gave us the chance with a win in our next game to secure the Supporters' Shield as well as top spot in the Eastern Conference for the playoffs. And boy did we do that, an 8-1 thrashing of the Chicago Fire. Molina there picking up 4 goals and own goal in there as well as a double to Birchmas and 1 to Renier. So we have already wrapped up the Supporters' Shield, and that was with 6 games left in the MLS season. So we did a bit of an Inter Miami on the rest of the MLS here this season. So we have already technically picked up our first bit of silverware here this season at the New York Red Bulls for the first time. We do lift the Supporters' Shield. Off the back of that, had 2 more MLS games to get through before we came back for this US Open Cup final. We did lose to Portland. To be fair, I was quite disappointed with their late goal there to Barry Noble. Not too sure if he's related to Mark, but unfortunately, despite the fact we put out a pretty strong team for that game, the only rotation player that we actually put in there was Robinson Pisane. We still lost in then a big rotation against Inter Miami only a couple of days before this cup final. We were pretty rusty, but did manage to come from behind and pick up a 3-3 draw. So be fair, a form off the back of securing the Supporters' Shield in that thumping win over Chicago has not been good, but it has allowed us the chance to make sure all our first team players are fit and fresh going into this cup final in terms of the MLS. There's a confirmation. We're on 80 points. Orlando City are on 59. The teams down there in the West aren't even close to those numbers over in the Eastern Conference. So it does mean already the champions of the Supporters' Shield. So we've got our first bit of silverware here at the New York Red Bulls. Fingers crossed we can make that too when we take on Charlotte FC in this upcoming cup final. They're all the way down in 17th on the Supporters' Shield. In terms of the Eastern Conference, they're in 12th. So that kind of shows just how poorly in terms of points totals that the West is getting on compared to the East. But recently have lost to LAFC and drawn with Colorado and Portland, but picked up some narrow wins over New England and the defending MLS Cup champions in the Philadelphia Union. Let's hope we can also take that off them, just like we've done with the Supporters' Shield. The manager does like a 4-2-3-1, does the Paraguayan. Their captain is Kamal Miller, the Canadian centre-back come left-back. He is currently, though, travelling because there is, as this cup final is about to start, an international break just as this cup final is taking place. All the players about to go on international duty are travelling on the day of this cup final. So some interesting scheduling there for this US Open Cup, but it does mean their captain won't be featuring, going to join the Canadian national team, but their key player as well as their vice captain is Nahul Bustos is in need of a rest. We'll see if they use it on him here in this competition. Considering being 12th in the Eastern Conference, this might be the only chance at silverware here this season for Charlotte FC, but he looks like a handy player with 3.5-star current ability and potential. Some pretty good attributes as well, so quite a good player there they have got in Nahul Bustos, but we'll see if we can keep him quiet and hopefully get some revenge on these guys, because up until that loss that we did suffer to Portland in the MLS, if we go up way earlier this season. This was the only team before then that we actually lost to when that Supporters' Shield was still on the line of 2-1 defeat there away from home all the way back in March, and it was Bustos who picked up a double, including one in injury time. So one of the few teams here in America this season who have been able to beat us. So fingers crossed here that we can manage to beat them and pick up our first cup trophy here with the New York Red Bulls and get ourselves a double before we get stuck into the MLS playoffs. It does mean this will be the only game we're going to show you in today's episode. Another game against the Fire off the back of this. But seeing as that MLS now has nothing riding on it until we make our way into the playoffs, we may as well just skip forward into those come the start of tomorrow's episodes. Just as one cup final coming up in today's one, but hopefully we can make it a double here at the New York Red Bulls. Thankfully, no injury concerns. That's obviously been helped out by the fact we picked up that Supporters' Shield a week or so ago in game, albeit that international break does mean that we are missing Bemba Koulibaly. Of course, we did sign him to replace Frigerio, and he had quite a few caps for Mali even at that stage. He'll get a few more, so he'll be missing for this cup final. To be fair, that might not be the worst thing, because so far this season, Pacheco has been out injured for most of these cup competitions. He can actually get a start in this cup final, seeing as he is listed as our cup goalkeeper. So I suppose that might be quite good for dynamics, but really, apart from that, we're at full strength here for this cup final, so fingers crossed we can pick this up, especially with this one being at the Red Bull Arena, and get ourselves a double before the playoffs start. And here are the team sheets for this US Open Cup final. As I said, our first chance here properly at some cup silverware. Obviously, Pacheco and goal, still going with Birchmas at left wing over MV, who to be fair did play quite well in that Inter Miami game there. Charlotte going with the 4-2-3-1, but fingers crossed here in front of our home fans, we can for the first time in club history pick up the US Open Cup. And just shot the 10-minute mark here, the first highlight. Did have Birchmas there on the attacking side of the opposition box, but unfortunately gave the ball away, but then they give it to us. Now Pirani gets himself on the attack. A good chance for him, and Philip in goal does deflect that one onto the woodwork. Then Birchmas tries to fizz that one into the mixer, but unfortunately it gets blocked. But it might mean a chance for us now from set piece. Been decent from these so far this season. Birchmas fizzes that one in there for Pirani, but unfortunately that one goes just wide of the post. So it looks like at these stages here, we are on the front foot, as you'd probably expect at home in a cup final, but still nil all, albeit a few minutes later, we do have a set piece. Unfortunately, it's cleared away there briefly by the goalkeeper for Charlotte, but thankfully, good work there from Zinotti to get that one back for us. Good 1-2 between him and Renier, and he puts that one just inside of that left-hand upright. Zinotti there with a big bit of play for us. Got back nicely for us there to win that ball off of Ruse. In fact, it was the pass actually that helped him out there. Plays into Renier and overlap as that defender does cut inside a little bit, and Zinotti just gets that one in off the post. I'm pretty sure Philip there got a good touch on that one, but thankfully it's still a goal, and we go 1-0 up. And going forward 10 minutes from that opening goal, now it's a corner for us here, which Zenta puts at the near post, and Wisdom Ummy will head that one home, off to a brilliant start so far in this cup final. So thankfully, despite that form off the back of securing the Supporters' Shield with that thumping 8-1 win over Chicago, it's been pretty average since then, but maybe some of that rotation we've been doing is going to pay off here, as already we have a 2-0 lead, and off the back of that a few minutes later, now a free kick. We float that one far post there through Sane for Renier. He heads it home, and he stayed on side, of course, in the US Open Cup so far. There's been no VAR, so don't expect that to change during the course of this game, but somehow there they just give Birchmas a ton of space there in behind from that free kick, plays it back to Sane, and Renier heads it into the ground and gets it past Philip, and just shy of the half-hour mark, already a 3-0 lead. And the action continues here in our favour, just 10 minutes shy of half-time, and it's a throw-in for us here inside the final third, albeit this time Charlotte hid that one away, and Vidovic there looked like he had a good chance there to get on the attack, but Birchmas somehow teleports for him, and we keep that ball. Now Renier makes his way inside the box, a tight angle, but beats Philip. Pretty similar angle to where Zanotti scored that first goal, but really, this one might be all over quite early. It's 4-0, 10 minutes shy of halftime. Julio Cesar plays this one out to Pirani. Renier and the bottom there tries to come out and cut that one out, but thankfully Renier can still beat the goalkeeper. It's absolutely one-way traffic so far here in the US Open Cup final. 4-0 to the Red Bulls. And just about to make our way here into injury time in the first half. You can see the stats there, top left corner. It's been complete one-way traffic, and that's obviously shown by the 4-0 scoreline. It does actually mean we had a couple of players coming to this game on a heavy workload. I think we can take them off early. So it does mean we're going to take off here Cesar for Ryan Lamb and also Molina actually going a bit fairly on a 6.7. Brian Green these days we're using as the backup striker because unfortunately Oliveira's recent form has been pretty poor. So a couple of subs to make sure those two don't get injured before the playoffs. But so far, absolutely on top with a 4-0 lead. And it looks like that momentum is going to continue here in the second half. An early free kick for us here. We take it short. Sane will fizz that one out there to Zanotti, who does get tackled, but thankfully will keep hold of the ball. Plays that one back in there for Renier. And now Pirani with a shot from just outside the box, but it's absolutely poached there from Brian Green. And he picks up a goal in the US Open Cup final and makes it 5-0. This is an absolute hammering. These guys might be more washed than FM25 as much as I really don't want to say that. It might be true. To be fair, Green there, don't think he has any idea that he's actually touched that ball until it's made its way to the back of the net, but he makes it 5-0. And it takes a little while for the next highlight in this game, 65 minutes, and it's a corner for us. Here we go, far post. Of course, Renier is sitting on a hat-trick, so fingers crossed here he can pick that up late, but Birchmas cuts inside, Tikvich goes out there to Renier, who plays it for Pirani. He tries to put that one top left corner, but unfortunately gets under that one a little bit too much. But we're about to make our way to the last 20 minutes of this game. Obviously, it's as good as done with a 5-0 lead. We'll praise the guys, but then make our final 3 subs. I think here we'll bring on some of our youngsters with the substitute. Connor can come on here for Tikvich, also Apples at left back for Zenta, who's had a pretty good game. And I think also let's bring on MV, as I said, did quite well in our last game into Miami. So far, Birchmas going pretty well, but no goals. So those will be our 3 subs here to finish this game. Still 5-0 in front. And we're just made way into the last 10 minutes here of this US Open Cup final. Unfortunately for you guys, hasn't been much of a competitive affair. We're 5-0 in front. To be fair, might get a chance here to make it even more. A corner Green though will float that one far post, not really near any of our players, but MV tracks back and gets that ball back for us. Lamb there, a poor pass, but thankfully just does enough there to get the ball back for us. Now Sane, he'll find Zanotti, makes his way and takes on the shot. A good save there from their goalkeeper. And then Green, I think that was his effort, also gets saved. Some good work there finally from Philip in goal for Charlotte, but really it's just saving them, suffering a 6-goal defeat here. It's all about the scoreline because no chance they turn this around in under 5 minutes. It's been a very complete display from us here in this US Open Cup final. So thankfully, we are showing we can get the job done in big games because so far here at the Red Bulls, I think it's fair to say that it's been our biggest kryptonite. We do tend to choke in some big games as shown with that quarterfinal in the Leagues Cup yesterday. To be fair, their goalkeeper in that game from New England had an absolute blinder, but unfortunately it has meant we've gone out a bit earlier than we would like in some cup competition. Charlotte there with a late chance trying to curve that one into the top right corner, and off the back of that it is full time. We have smashed our way there to the US Open Cup with that 5-0 win over Charlotte FC. As I said, they're going to be pretty washed off the back of that performance because we absolutely dominated them, and thankfully this time we actually get a trophy that for some reason didn't get this off the back of securing that supporters shield off camera with that big win over the Chicago Fire. But it is our second trophy this season here at the New York Red Bulls, and we do it in style. We pick up the US Open Cup there off the back of that 5-0 win. So one of the easier cup final wins you're likely to see there in that US Open Cup final this season as we beat Charlotte FC 5-0. Renier unfortunately couldn't quite pick up the hat-trick, but of course is our captain, so as well as getting player of the match to get the chance there to lift our first US Open Cup in history. We celebrate the double because of course the Supporters Shield coming in to today's episode. And as I said, that's the first time that the club's ever won that competition. Some good stuff here for the New York Red Bulls in this 2029 season here. In game just going up a bit further, £240,000 there for that final win. The board are very happy that we've won a domestic cup, even though that was just favoured 3 years ahead of schedule, thankfully, because otherwise we would have been here for a very long time in the MLS. And to be fair, with how dominant we've been in that Supporters Shield this season, that would have got a little bit older, a little bit quick. As I said earlier, that's the first time the Red Bulls have picked that cup up. Renier, obviously man of the match, also did get an assist for one of those goals, that first one to Zanotti. There's the review, the biggest overachievers. Obviously, Tampa Bay, who just missed out on penalties in the semi-final to Charlotte FC, the LA Galaxy. They were the biggest disappointers. Top assist was Renier, and Bustos did get the most goals, thankfully. Kept him quiet in that final, to be fair. Not even sure if he played. That's how little we did see Charlotte on the ball, and Nascimento, our assistant manager, who, if you're wondering, is the brother of Bruno Lage, so to be fair, bit of pedigree with him. He's pretty happy about that as well. But I think that does it for today's episode. As I said, obviously, with the Supporters Shield as well as top spot in the East already secured, there's not much point showing you guys a game from the MLS. But if you enjoyed that cup final we do pick up there with a 5-0 win over Charlotte, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. We'll come back tomorrow, as I said, it will be for the start of the playoffs. We're going to be taking on the team that makes their way through that wild card games. At the moment, that would be between Inter Miami and Atlanta United, and also it's a best of 3 series, so hopefully we can get the job done in the first leg, which I'll play off camera, come back and go through pretty comfortably, unlike last season where good old Columbus, they knocked us out in that first round of the knockouts. So fingers crossed here that we can get the job done in that first round of the playoffs tomorrow. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.